Hi all, I am Shubham from Informatica GCS team. In this video we learn how can we create Elasticsearch connection in IDMC and how can we use it to run mappings in Informatica CDI Advanced. Agenda, we'll see an overview, then how can we create Elasticsearch connection, we'll see the connection properties, then we'll see how can we create Elasticsearch connection as a demo, and then what errors we might face when we'll set up Elasticsearch connection. So first of all, we'll see what is Elasticsearch. So Elasticsearch is a distributed search and analytics engine which is at heart of Elastic-Stack. The Elastic-Stack stands for Elasticsearch, Logstash and Kibana. Elasticsearch is where you store your data and all the search and analysis magic happens. We'll see more details about Elastic-Stack. So, as I mentioned, Elasticsearch is distributed search and analytics engine. So there are three components of ELK stack, which is Elasticsearch, Logstash and Kibana. So Elasticsearch is an analytics engine that provides a scalable and distributed full text search as well as analytics capabilities on top of structured JSON document store. Logstash is data processing pipeline that allows to collect, parse and transform data from various sources and sends it to Elasticsearch for storage and analysis. And Kibana is a UI which allows you to visualize and interact with data stored in Elasticsearch. Now how does Elasticsearch store data? It stores data in form of indexes. An index can be thought of optimized collection of document where each document is collection of fields which are key value pairs that contains data. This slide will show an architecture for Elasticsearch. So Elasticsearch is distributed search and analytics engine. The architecture can be divided into four main components, which is nodes, clusters, shards and indexes. A node is a single instance of Elasticsearch. Cluster is formed when we have one or two nodes. Elasticsearch can scale as more nodes are added and can scale to hundreds of nodes. Index is stored within Elasticsearch node but can spawn across Elasticsearch cluster and nodes, and documents are stored within them or distributed across the node. Now, when you want to create Elasticsearch connection from IDMC, these are the connection properties or attributes which you need to specify from IDMC. First is the connection name. This is the name of connection. You can provide any name for your Elasticsearch connection. Description is optional. Type will be Elasticsearch. Runtime environment, you can specify your runtime environment which you will be using for creating the Elasticsearch connection and running mappings using Elasticsearch indexes. Please note that whatever runtime environment which you are using here should have Elasticsearch connector enabled. Host, this will be the host of your Elasticsearch server. Port number which is 9243 default. Authentication, currently Elasticsearch connector supports basic authentication, which means you need to specify username and password details. Now, the username which you will be specifying in this connection should have ability to create indexes, read indexes and write indexes. Now we will see a quick demo how can we create Elasticsearch connection, and I'll show how can we import an Elasticsearch index. So this is my IDMC console, and here in this org I want to create my Elasticsearch connection. So first of all, I'll see whether the runtime which I am using is having Elasticsearch connector enabled or not. So for that I am checking for all the items to be viewed on this page, and I'll search my runtime environment which I will be using. So this is my runtime environment GCS EDH 7.1, and now I will click on enable or disable services connectors because I want to see whether my runtime environment is having Elasticsearch connection enabled or not. So as you can see, this Elasticsearch checkbox is checked on, which means that in this runtime environment Elasticsearch connection is enabled, which means I can create Elasticsearch connection. I can use this runtime environment for creating Elasticsearch connection and run mappings using Elasticsearch connector. So I'll close it, and now I will click on connections to create Elasticsearch connector. So let me click on new connection, and I'll wait for this page to be loaded. Once this page loads, we will specify the Elasticsearch connection attributes to create the connection, and then we will test it and verify if the connection test is successful. So now the page is available, and I will specify the name of my Elasticsearch connection, which is Elasticsearch, and let's say demo 23. Now I will specify the type of connection, which is Elasticsearch. So I will select this, and now I will specify the runtime environment. The runtime environment which we have seen, or which we have checked whether the Elasticsearch connector is enabled or not. So let me just select my runtime environment which had the Elasticsearch connector enabled, and here I will specify the host. So for checking these details, let me go to my Elasticsearch console. So this is my Elasticsearch console, and this is the overview. So when you will be creating any deployment in your Elasticsearch, so this will be the page which will be shown to you. Now as you can see, this page will be showing the details regarding your deployment and the applications which are running. In order to copy, or in order to check your Elasticsearch host, you can simply copy this endpoint from the Elasticsearch. You can copy paste it here, and you can specify, you can copy this thing to be specified in the Elasticsearch host. So I will copy paste it here, and now port number, which is by default 9243. Authentication is basic, which means you need to specify your username and password details. Please note that for this demo I am using the default user, which is Elastic user, which gets created when you create any deployment. You can create any user which you want, but please make sure that the user which you are using here should have permissions to read and write to indexes. So this is the users page where you can create the user, and once you are creating the user, please make sure to specify the correct roles which is having the necessary permissions to read and write on indexes. Once you create this user, you can specify the same user and password details here in this connection. Since I am using default user which gets as you can see, my test connection is successful. Now we will see if we can create the Elasticsearch indexes which are present in our mappings. So for this I have navigated myself to data integration page, and now I'll click on new. Please note that currently Elasticsearch mappings can be executed in advanced mode. So I'll create an advanced mode mapping. Create. This will create a normal mapping, a CDI mapping, which I will later on switch it to advanced mode to import my indexes. So it has created a CDI regular mapping. Now once this page will be available, so I can switch it to advanced mode. So now I had created one Elasticsearch connection earlier, so I'll use the same to import my index. So Elasticsearch, and this was my connection which I created earlier. So I have selected that, and let's just see if we are able to import the indexes which we have, which are present in our Elasticsearch. So we can click on tables to import our Elasticsearch indexes, and this will provide you the list of the indexes which are present. So I can import any one of them, let's say fame. Let me check the fields. As you can see, the index is currently imported. You can now use this index to execute your mappings or read and write to any of your Elasticsearch indexes in advanced mode. That's all for the demo. Now we will see what errors you might face when you are creating the Elasticsearch connection. The screenshot which you are seeing currently shows an error message related to permissions. As you can see, the error from this message is quite evident, and it is saying that there is some permission issues for the user which you are specifying in the connection. Please make sure that the user which you are using should have read and write permissions to the indexes. Once you will specify the correct permissions for that user, this error should not be seen. The another error which you can face is name or service not known. As it is quite evident, this error you will face when the host name which you are specifying for the Elasticsearch connector is not correct. So in order to resolve this issue, please copy the host name correctly from the Elasticsearch endpoint. If you are facing any errors while testing Elasticsearch connection, please check the error from the connector service log, which might provide the detailed stack of the failure of the connection, and you can also create a case with GCS and you can share the relevant logs. Please refer this document, which is having more details on how can you create the Elasticsearch connector and how can you use Elasticsearch connector and how can you create mappings using Elasticsearch connection, and what are the rules and guidelines for creating the mappings and executing the mappings with Elasticsearch connection. We would love to hear from you. You can write us back on supportvideos@informatica.com, or you can tweet us at twitter.com/infasupport. Thank you.